What's up, guys? Brian Rhatigan here from the Back Nine Podcast. On this week's episode, we're going to talk about Tom Brady winning his 7th Super Bowl ring. We're going to throw it back to my first ever Valentine's Day in first grade. And we're going to talk about my top 9 Super Bowl ads, as well as the amazing week the Back Nine Pod had. So stay tuned for an amazing episode. Sponsored by Stay Thirsty Co. Let's go. Alright, Super Bowl 55. It was a tough game. It was boring. Nobody really enjoyed it, unless you were a Bucs fan. I didn't hit any squares, so that sucked. But yeah, 31-9. A lot of analysts were off. When I say a lot of them, I mean all of them. I predicted the score to be 24-21. Like I said, 31-9. The Bucs went at home in Tampa in front of their fans, which was probably a really cool experience. And Tom Brady was just like, yeah, just my 7th. Not a big deal at all. Like, did you see his press conference or his post-game speech? He was just like, are you going to be back next year? He was like, yeah, I'm going to be back. And I'll probably play till I'm 50. Like, that's not a joke. Like, when I say that, I smile and I'm handsome as hell. But I mean it. And I'm serious. And he's going to keep going. The guy's a beast. Eli beat him twice, and I just had to throw that in there because Tom Brady is the greatest of all time, but what does that make Eli? Or Nick Foles? I guess we'll never know. What a sick Super Bowl, though. Brady back next year. Defense was magnificent the whole playoffs, and probably won Brady 2 of those games. It wasn't an easy road. They had Breeze, Rodgers, and Mahomes to get through, which they did. Tampa Bay, Super Bowl 55 champions. Tom Brady is a savage. And speaking of savage, Antoine Winfield, remembering what Tyreek Hill did to him in the regular season. Cheetah hit him with his famous peace sign. And, you know, the score was a lot to a little. And Antoine Winfield Jr., as a rookie, went right in Tyreek Hill's face and said, "What up, Super Bowl champions?" And if you're asking anyone who watched the game or Antoine Winfield Jr., was it worth the 15 yards? Absolutely. It made for a great meme on the internet. All right, I want to get into Valentine's Day. What a shit holiday. And I'm going to, personally, for me, it might be a good holiday for some, but for me, it has always been bad. And I'm going to explain why. Dating back to first grade, this is, buckle down because this is a great story. I had a crush on my first grade teacher. Not that that matters, but I thought I'd throw that in there. She hands out the class list. I'm all excited. I'm filling out all the names. Don't even look at my name. To Keisha, be mine from Brian. I don't even know if I had a Keisha in my class, but to Keisha, be mine. All right. I put it in her slot. I'm all excited. And I finally get my bag, and I'm going through. I see a lollipop, some sour hearts. And I'm like, oh, let's go. And I open up my first card. I rip off the heart sticker. I open it up. It says, to Brain, be mine. And I'm like, oh, all right, this kid can't spell. Right? And then I open the next one. To Brain, be mine. I'm like, huh. 2 kids can't spell in my class. Anyways, I open the third. It says to Brain. I look at the class list when I get home, and my crush, my first grade teacher, put, my name is Brain Rhatigan. Brain. Do you know how long that haunted me for? Do you know how I felt being a first grader and having my card say Brain? I felt like shit. I never wanted to celebrate. I don't know what love is. I haven't known what love is since first grade. Because of my teacher. I had to divorce her. I divorced her after she put, it was a tough day for all. And let's just say Valentine's Day sucks. Just kidding. Because I really think we should bring back Valentine's Day for adults. I think, I love the whole process of decorating the bag and making like a T-Rex dinosaur mouth. I don't know, kids, I work in a school and kids are getting creative, or parents, whoever helps them out with the boxes. They are so creative nowadays. I saw like a Baby Yoda Valentine's Day box. I saw I saw Popeye. I saw Popeye the Sailor one. Now, that shit was OD. That parent went off. Like, they must, I'm not shitting on parents, but they must have been working from home early because that box looked like it took them about 3 weeks. Or they just started the project early. We'll just stick with that. Anyways, bring back Valentine's Day, especially just like for adults. Like we could put like little shooters of alcohol. Some bad news and good news over the weekend. I'm going to start with the good news. Derrick Rose is officially a Knick. The New York Knicks got him from the Pistons for a bag of chips and a soda. Dennis Smith and a second-round pick. And we got not a stud, but we got one of Thibs' boys, teaming him up with Taj Gibson. Jimmy Butler's jealous. He said, Thibs is bringing the band back together. And he's right. We literally got Derrick Rose for absolutely nothing. And I'm pretty ecstatic about it. I like Derrick Rose. He can still contribute off the bench. I think he's averaging like 12 and 8 or 12 and 4. 12 and 8 is way too high for a 32-year-old. Learned that from my man Rhatigan. But yeah, Derrick Rose is back, rocking number 4. Number 4. Change up from 25 when he was in his previous stint about 3-4 years ago. But yeah, D-Rose is a Knick, so that is some good news. On to the bad news. I was so excited. I drank vodka for the first time in a while. I did. I had some fun. I had a long week. And yeah, that day, the next day, after I drank that, was not too kind to me. My head hurt. I had a bad hangover. My sleep schedule is off. And I took a nap. Woke up, and couldn't feel my body. Didn't know what was going on. I'm like, all right, this isn't right. Freaked out. That was tough. That was very frightening. I thought about it for 3 hours. I had sleep paralysis for the first time. My sleep schedule is effed up this week. I've been busy. I've been busy with work. So yeah, that was some bad news. I had sleep paralysis for the first time. At least that I know of, because that shit was crazy. But I won't get too deep into it. Hopefully it never happens, and I wouldn't wish it upon my worst enemy. Besides Jackson Mahomes. Moving on, Super Bowl, top 9 commercials. If you saw that post on my page earlier today, there were some good ones. Yes, I put the Hellman's commercial on there with Amy Schumer. I was dying when she was like, what else is mayo good for? And she was like, absolutely nothing. And a lot of people didn't like it. I thought it was hilarious. And yeah, you're going to have to go in and watch my top 9 Super Bowl commercials from this year. I mean, they've sucked for the past 12 years. There hasn't been a good one in a long time. So, very disappointing. I don't even get hyped about the Super Bowl commercials anymore. But we still watch them anyway, right? To close out the show, I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for all of your support. Last week was absolutely insane. We had 2 huge interviews with Tom Gozlowski from 104.5 and Rye Guy and Britt from TikTok. They were great guests. I had so much fun, and I really hope we can have them back on in the future. And yeah, we're just going to keep grinding away. We have really cool interviews lined up for you. I'm not going to give them away right now, but they are coming. Stay tuned. I love doing interviews, and the numbers are just skyrocketing. Audience, listeners in 22 different countries. Thank you, Norway. Thank you, Albania. Shout out my mom. Shout out my dad, who made me. That's in episode 1 in the quote. In Big Bry's quote of the week. Shout out my father, who made me, is what I said. But yeah, D-Rose is a Knick. Life is good. Numbers are skyrocketing. And I love you guys. And that's how we're going to end this week's episode. See you guys next week. Guys, I'm done.